Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tamara Taylor, and I am the Senior Assistant Director for Career Coaching and Student Belonging here at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill University Career Services Office. Today, we will be talking about the internship search strategy. This is going to be an hour-long session, and it is being recorded, so you can always go to our YouTube channel to review the chat. And I will give my co-host an opportunity to introduce herself. Then we will give you some directions for the session and we will begin thereafter.
Hi, everyone. My name is Camilla Alderman. I am a junior at UNC, majoring in public policy and minoring in AAAD. I am also a career peer for career services, so I help students with resumes, cover letters, CVs, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you, Camilla. So before we begin, we do want to let you all know that the chat feature is available for your use. Please use it and the Q&A tab to ask any questions you have for us. With that, let's go ahead and jump right into today's conversation, which again is on the internship search process. So here's our agenda. We are going to present you with some facts. We're going to talk about what an internship is, some attributes that employers look for when making hiring decisions, specifically around the internship experience that one has. We're going to also talk about the process itself, some next steps, and some resources to help you start with your process. So here are some facts for you.
So first, why an internship? So an internship provides you with experience and opportunities to grow in your desired career field. So it's not about like academics, like you are on the dean's list, you make so many grades. That is not going to get you the job. What's going to get you the job is the experience and the skills that only an internship can provide. So another reason is to try out different career pathways. In college, it is told to us that basically we're supposed to know everything. We're supposed to come into college knowing what we want to do. But I mean, that's not practical. A lot of people don't know what they want to do or have like many ideas, and internships give you the opportunity to do that, to try out different things, to know what you like, to know what you don't like. Fortunately for me, I was able to be a part of a program that provided internships. So I interned at places like DHG and hospitals. And through those experiences, I've learned that accounting is not for me and working in a hospital is not for me either. So internships provide you experience in many different fields. And last but not least, to develop personal and professional skills. Gaining transferable skills is essential no matter where you want to go, and an internship can give you skills such as public speaking, time management, things of that nature. So that's why an internship is important.
And Camilla, how many internships have you had since enrolling in Carolina?
About three. Okay. Three internships, one fellowship, and 2 research experiences.
Awesome. And would you say that, how can you identify, or what can you identify as being a game changer for you when you think about at least the first 2 internships? What did those do for you, having those experiences that you did not have prior to an internship?
So I came to UNC not knowing what I wanted to do. However, by my sophomore year, I figured that public policy was what I was passionate about. So I applied to many policy internships, and the internship that I am now is policy related. However, I've learned, or what was a game changer for me, it showed me what I don't want to do. So that goes with trying things out. So with this internship, I'm just doing basically like administrative work, creating surveys, data analysis, and that showed me that I don't want to do this after college, which was a game changer. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Here's another fact I want you all to understand. The average conversion rate for interns climbed by nearly 20% from a year ago. And this is from the National Association of Colleges and Employers national survey that they do every year regarding internships, right? And so what does that mean, conversion rate? Conversion rate means they offered students who were their interns full-time jobs. And so the fact that we saw a 20% increase in 2021 says that there's value to having an internship. And so if you're looking for an internship to one, definitely give you some experience, to help you to identify some transferable skills or develop some transferable skills, to be able to network, make connections, really start to make connecting points between your academics and your career goals. An internship is a valuable way in which to do that. But if you've also been able to obtain an internship that you really would like to continue with, or you identified an organization to intern with, they've hired you, and you find that you really like that organization, doing well or performing well in that internship could lead to a full-time offer. And so when you're thinking about your job search process, you want to make sure that your internship search, excuse me, is valuable. You want to target specific organizations. You want to make sure that you understand what it is that you need from that internship, what it is you will be able to give them. It's not just about you taking from them. It's about what you can give and add value to that organization. Because if you show up and you perform at a particular level, there's a strong possibility, we definitely make no promises for any organization, but you increase the likelihood that they will offer you a full-time job upon completion. And Camilla, I believe one of your summer internships actually was extended beyond the initial time frame because of your performance. Is that correct?
Correct. It got extended to this summer.
Awesome. Very good. So there's value in showing up and performing at a particular level because that can lead to continued open doors. Here's another fact. So Camille referenced GPA earlier. The percentage of employers that are using GPA to narrow down their pool of job candidates, according to this same NACE survey, is decreasing. That number is now down to 56.6%. So what does that mean? Yes, GPAs are valuable. GPAs mean something. We're not implying that they don't. But what we're saying is you're going to need more than a high GPA if your goal is to obtain employment immediately upon graduating from Carolina. So you want to ensure that you are gaining valuable experience through experiential learning activities such as internships. Here's another fact from that NACE survey. Internships can influence, right? Let's say you've applied for a job, you are a top candidate, and it's between you and another candidate. Well, our data is telling us that internships can make the difference between who that employer picks between you and the other person. So again, there's value in internships. So if you look at this chart, we see that this is on a 5-point scale where 1 equals no influence and 5 equals extreme influence. We see that having completed an internship within that company's organization is very influential. We also see having internship experience in that industry is very influential. What do we see with GPA? GPA falls between it's in the middle, in the somewhat of an influence, right? So when you all go back and review this video, I want you to really sit with this data right here, because it can be a guiding point for you in helping you to identify what some next steps may be during the rest of your tenure here at Carolina. What do I need to do? How do I get involved? What's going to matter? And what do I need from an internship that will allow me to be a competitive applicant for future opportunities? This a bit of information I pulled a couple of years ago from Talent Function Group, and I think is kind of telling. I'll let you kind of sit with it for a few seconds, then we'll kind of talk about it, or I'll point out a couple of things. So let's take a few seconds for you to kind of just read this information. What stands out to me is if 1,000 people view the job posting, if we go from 1,000 viewing the posting, we see to 100 finishing the actual application itself. We see 25 resumes are actually reviewed. In University Career Services, we can help you with your resume. So before you apply for the process, we definitely want you to schedule an appointment with us so we can help you with that. So 100 people finish the application, but only 25 are actually viewed by the hiring manager. So that means 75% of those were screened out, and there are a number of reasons why that number has gone from 100 to 25. 4 to 6 candidates are invited for an initial interview. Then we get down to, of course, one candidate receiving an offer. This is very telling, right? So how do we remain competitive in a process where we know 200 people may actually start the application and 100 people or 99 people, we would make the 100th person, actually finishes the application? How do we get down to the 4 to 6 candidates receiving an initial interview? Well, the previous slide tells us having an internship can help you get an invite to the interview. So again, internship experience is critical and important. Now, here's something else that I want to share with you. Not all internships are funded. Some are going to be paid, some will be unpaid. But there are some funding sources here at the university. And so again, I will send out this link to everyone that is attending so you can click on all of the hyperlinks to see the information presented. But there are some funding sources to help students if you take an unpaid internship. Housing, I tell students, do not always apply for something, even if it's not in your backyard. Don't let money, don't let housing deter you from applying for a great opportunity. Everyone doesn't put out up front how they will help you secure housing, that they may help you temporarily relocate to their destination, right? So if you see something and it's not in your backyard, apply, go through the process, and let them work with you to potentially help you get the money you need in order to complete or in order to engage rather in that particular internship. So housing, there are universities across the country that offer housing to students that may not be their own. You may be able to stay in a residential facility on another college campus while completing a local internship. Employers sometimes also offer housing to their interns. You just may take some of your salary and put it toward the rent that they may charge you. So housing for some people seems like, well, if it's not next door, I can't do it. Actually, you can do it, right? So just be open, go through the process. Also think about who do you know that lives in some of the places that you may be targeting for an internship? Do you have any relatives, friends, classmates? Have you looked into some temporary housing? One of our career peers is actually doing his internship in New Orleans, and he's moving actually next week. And he is in the process of trying to find a place to live. The beautiful thing about New Orleans is that is where he was born. So he has family there, but he's trying to find his own space, right? He wants to be in his own housing. But while he's looking, he knows that he can live with them for a week or two until he's able to secure housing. So the fact that he targeted an opportunity someplace where he does not presently live, but he knew he would be able to secure housing, says a lot about his being ambitious in trying to secure an opportunity. So housing is really important, and we encourage you to do to again be open to the process and let us, meaning University Career Services, the university, our resources, and that particular employer help you if you have any particular needs around funding and or housing. And then credit. Some internships are not paid, they are for credit, meaning you get college credit for participating in that internship. Camilla, I think the internship you recently secured is for credit. Do you mind kind of talking about that for us, please?
Yes. Last week or so, I was offered an internship opportunity with an organization in Charlotte, and I had to reach out to my policy department about receiving credit. And fortunately, there was a class, an internship class that I could take that allows for me to work on my internship and receive credit. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like a senior exit project in high school, but that's what it kind of reminds me of. So for the class, it's 3 credits. I have to meet with my advisor like every blue moon, but at the end of the course, which is in April, I have to put together a portfolio. So like my resume, cover letter, work schedule, basically a portfolio of what I've done and proof of things that I've done and my work schedule and stuff like that. So it doesn't require a lot of work from you. It's just you get to do your internship and get 3 credits. So that's awesome.
Thank you. And so if you want to find out what that class is, it's here on the slide. Again, you can click on it. It will take you directly to that link. So you want to engage with your academic department before you just accept an internship for credit. There's a process to it. But this class, SPCL 493, is the class that you could use to receive credit for an internship. So we have funding, paid and unpaid. We have resources here on campus that can assist you. Housing, again, depending upon where your internship is located, you may be able to stay in a residential facility at another college or university. That employer may be able to provide housing for you. And then you also want to think about, are there any relatives, friends, classmates that you may know who live in that area and you can reside with them? And then finally, doing an internship for credit. So now let's kind of talk about the job and internship process. So students will often ask us, how long does the average job and or internship process last? Well, that really depends on when you get started, right? And it also depends on what it is you are applying to. We always hear students say, especially in the spring, some of my friends have already accepted offers. I feel like I'm behind. And I will follow that up with, well, what is your major? What are your interests? And they'll tell me, and I'll say, well, are your friends over in the B school, or are they looking to do finance or consulting? They say yes. And I tell them, you are right on time. They have an earlier deadline than the majority of students on UNC's campus. And so for the majority of our students, the time for you to start looking is anytime. But when the time more so when you may find opportunities outside of things like consulting, anything related to computer science or anything related to finance, you will find a lot of those in the spring. So this time of year, those folks typically have a kind of like summer to mid fall deadline to apply for summer of the next year internship, right? So their industries are a little different. Everyone else, yours is based off of the need and the timeline. So if you are just starting your process, you're not behind. Even if you're interested in those areas, are there still opportunities? Certainly. How many more? I could never speak to that because that is based on the employer's need, right? But the good thing about, if there is a good thing to COVID, is a lot of opportunities are hybrid, they're virtual. You may have opportunities where, and I shouldn't have said hybrid, but you may have opportunities that are remote, right? Which is opening the door to a lot of students, especially students who don't have the means to travel to another city, travel to another state. And so this is prime time to start looking for opportunities. And I encourage you to look for both in-person and remote opportunities. What I tell students is if you treat your search process like a class, you likely will find what it is that you're looking for. What do you mean treat it like a class? Oftentimes I hear students say, I don't have enough time to include this in my day. Yes, you do. Today is Thursday. Today's workshop began at 2 p.m. and it runs for an hour. So I would encourage you, if you are free every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m., to treat this like a class. Well, why treat it like a class? Well, if you are studious, you do not skip class unless you are sick, right? Or unless there's some sort of emergency. So if we take the fact that today is Thursday, it is 2:22 p.m., and again, this workshop is an hour. If you treat this like a class, meaning every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m., you dedicate time to this process, whatever your end goal is, you increase the likelihood of being able to achieve it because you committed to the process, right? So going to class, whether that is actually leaving your dorm, leaving your apartment because it's a distraction and going someplace quiet, or you stay in your dorm, or you go to someplace that's quiet in your apartment to do this work as if it were a class, then you can concentrate more. You can focus more on the work that needs to take place. I say give yourself a timeline. If you're looking for results in 6 weeks, then create a 6 week process. If you're open to eight, do an 8 week, but you do need to have a timeline, and you need to have goals that you set for yourself every single week. If you can do more than one day a week, that would be beneficial. So if you're free Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 to 3, then make this time a commitment to doing this work. What does this work mean? It means making sure your resume is on point, scheduling an appointment with career services to review your resume, to review your cover letter, having us help you with interview prep. If it's contacting us to get some real tailored tips on creating an internship search process for yourself. All of those things are action items. All of those things are class assignments that you can and should do and include in your process. So if you treat it like a class that you don't skip and that you attend regularly, whatever your end goal is, you increase the likelihood of being able to complete it. When and where should you apply? Well, we've kind of already talked about that, but where should you apply? It depends on what your interests are. You can apply directly to organizations' websites. You can go to job boards like our Handshake, Idealist. You can apply to opportunities like micro internships with Parker Doing. There are a lot of places you can look, but again, using us can give you we can give you some tailored sites to review in a session like today. We can't do that because we have students from all majors on the line. But if you schedule with us and we get to kind of learn more about you and your interests, then we're able to direct you to some websites. But you can use platforms like our Handshake to help you identify potential opportunities. What percentage of your search should be dedicated to networking? Well, Camille, I believe you landed this most recent internship for the summer by way of networking. Is that correct? Is that how you found this opportunity?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
You want to change the slide because it introduces networking. So I just want to start off by saying it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Literally every single internship, fellowship, or research opportunity that I received at UNC was through networking, or someone knew me and referred to me to a fellowship or a research opportunity. So I highly, highly, highly recommend networking. I know it's scary. I know everyone is not a people person or an extrovert, but if you're not going to advocate for yourself, who is going to advocate for you? So put yourself out there and just take a leap of faith. And we have an advantage for college students. And I find that a lot of adults and professionals, they love college students. They love seeing young people seeking help and seeking opportunities. So it's not like they're going to flat out tell you no. I have never had someone say no to me. So just, show your passion, show that you are really interested, and they will find a way. So first things first, research opportunities in your field. So what I do, I am a public policy major and I am interested in education policy. So I look up nonprofits in Durham, Chapel Hill. I'm from Charlotte, so in Charlotte. And I just email them saying, hey, my name's Camille Alderman, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested in your company. Do you have any volunteering shadow experiences available? And then you'll email me back saying yeah, sure, straight like that. And that's my most recent internship that I was offered was literally through that. I emailed them. I've never had any connection with them. Actually, the director, he he did a presentation for one of my classes, and I was like, wow, like he's cool. A couple months later, I reached out to the organization, and he set up a meeting, an hour meeting with me on the Monday, and offered me an internship right on the spot. So just research a bunch of like opportunities in your field, to see if they're out there. Like the worst they could tell you is no, and if they do, move on to the next one. Go to office hours and talk with professors. I know this sounds, I don't know. It's just when I was coming into college and they were saying go to office hours, even though you don't have any questions about the content, I would say that's a waste of my time. Like, what are we talking about? But actually, it's not. Going to office hours, you're able to build a relationship with your professor outside of academics and outside of the classroom, and you get to learn about them as a person. And all professors, they're doing some type of research, so if research is your interest, that's what you can talk about. One of the opportunities I received was from my professor. We were just talking and talking, and she was like, you should reach out to Dr. Aruka. And I was like, okay, cool. So I reached out to Dr. Aruka. I've never had a class with her. She in a different department, like no connection whatsoever. I emailed her, tell her I'm a student and I'm like interested in her research. She emailed me back, and boom, we created a relationship, and now I'm on 2 of her research projects. And through her, she referred me to a fellowship that I didn't even have to apply for, just simply because she knew me and what my experiences and my skills. And all she did was tell someone that I'll be a good candidate. And just like that, I was in the fellowship. So please, please, please go to office hours and just simply talk with your professors and ask them like about their experience, how they got here, what are they researching, any advice, because then you guys get to build a relationship, and that relationship can take you so far. Reach out to professors who have experiences in what you aspire to be. Like, we're at UNC, and I want you to milk all the opportunities that you can. And to do that, just reach out to anybody who is of interest to you. So if someone is in the psychology department doing some awesome work, or has an organization, or doing some research, reach out to them and say that you're interested too. And boom, you'll create a relationship. So even though it seems scary because you're like, they don't know me, so what? Again, if you're not going to advocate for yourself, who will? And next, connect with alum through LinkedIn. I've never done this. However, a career peer on our team, he does this all the time. So he goes on LinkedIn, and if someone is doing a job that he wants, or is doing something that seems cool, he simply reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a student at UNC, and he's actually got some results out of that. So I highly recommend that as well. And then most importantly, follow up. That is what keeps the relationship. If you meet a professor and you talk through Zoom, you meet in person, you had a good conversation. After that conversation, or the day after, email them, thanking them for your time, and that you hope you guys can stay connected. If you don't follow up, they're not going to remember you, or your name's going to slip their mind. So you want to like put a pin in that relationship, and the only way you can do that is follow up and being consistent. What if a professor doesn't reach out to you, or what if they don't respond to your email? Follow up. Don't let that be your no. Don't let you be the answer to an opportunity. Like, if they don't answer, that's okay. Follow up. They will answer. Professors get a lot of emails every day, so it's probably they just didn't see it. So if you can get anything from this, network. Your network is your net worth. Like, I just can't stress this enough. All of the opportunities that I've gotten this week through networking. So if you can make connections, build connections, do that. I know it sounds scary, but once you get your first okay, you're going to be addicted. And now you're going to leave college with a bunch of contacts from people in different places. And what do you say? Oh, what do I say in my networking emails? So I subject them like informational meetings, or informational interview, and I introduce myself and I do research. So when you're also researching when you're researching the opportunities, also research who you're emailing. They're probably the founder of this, or they did this in college, or this something that is going to catch your eye. Mention that in the email because it shows you took initiative and that you actually care. So I introduce myself, tell them who I am. Always mention your year, major, and your school. Because I told you, like I said before, us being college students, that's an advantage. They want to help us. So make that the first thing, the first two sentences, who you are, and you being a student at UNC. Then mention like the research you've done. It was your research on this that caught my eye. Can we talk more about it? It'll be a pleasure to meet with you via Zoom or something like that. So I just asked to meet these people. I've never met them before. I just do the research, email them, tell them who I am, tell them why I'm interested in their research and my passions, and then I ask, can we meet? And it always ends with a yes, and we meet within weeks or a month. And today, actually, I met this woman at a business conference in November. She's a doctor. She has her own consultant agency in Texas. And I met with her in November. December we talked, and I told her my passions about education policy. And she was like, I don't do education policy, but I know a lot of people who do education policy. I woke up this morning with an email with her connecting me with someone in Dallas who also does education policy on their own nonprofit. So when I tell you this stuff is real, it's real. So I highly recommend you guys put yourself out there and network. Utilize career services. Please, please, please utilize us. We're here for a reason. We're here to serve you and to help you. You do not have to come to an appointment with a full-fledged filled out resume, cover letter. No, you can literally come with yourself and that's it. And we'll help you out and give you the tools needed to do your resume, cover letter, LinkedIn, CV, etc. So for the internship process, make sure your resume is updated. Make sure that your resume is reflecting where you're applying towards, and just come see us, and we'll get into details about that. I'll make sure before we leave, I'll put my email in the chat. Just in case you guys have any questions, or if you want to make an appointment with me, you have my information. Do you know how to write a cover letter? There's a lot of people that don't know how to write a cover letter, and that is okay. What's not okay is not knowing how to write a cover letter and still not coming to see us. So if you don't know how to write a cover letter, it is okay. Literally just come and we'll work it out. And if you need help with identifying what internships are a good fit for you, again, utilize career services. My freshman year, I was internship hungry. Because again, in high school, that's all I did. My junior and senior year, I did a bunch of internships. And when I came to college and I didn't have an internship, I felt less than, I felt behind, et cetera, et cetera. I came to see Tamara, and that's where our relationship popped off. And through our relationship, I've done many tests to identify like what are my personality types, what jobs will fit my personality types. And if I have not done that, I don't know where I would be. So if you feel stuck, if you feel quote unquote behind, there's no such thing, but it's just that's how you feel. Or if you just want more information and more tools, use us as a resource. We're here for a reason. I don't want you to graduate with a UNC degree and have no job, or graduate with a UNC degree and don't know how to write a resume. You want to just get everything that you can. Utilize career services, utilize these professors, milk all the opportunities and resources as you can while you're here, because when you graduate, it's gonna be a little harder and you wanna be an adult. And when that advantage of us being a student kind of goes away, because they expect us to be adults. So utilize us and we are a service to you.
Awesome. So just put it out there. I can't make it any more plain than she did. Utilize us. Like she said, she's going to put her email in the chat. Camille is one of our career peers. Trust me, she can help you with your resume, your cover letter, your CV, and your LinkedIn profile if you need support in any of those areas. So we want you all to understand it's not just looking for one, it's understanding that this is a process and understanding some of the steps that are needed to make this process a very fulfilling one for you. So some next steps that you all can really kind of focus on going forward. Think about after today. These are some potential next steps you can take. You can identify what you want from an internship. Identify three sources in which to look for internships. You can also identify and apply for, it has jobs, but it should say internship. Identify and apply for three internships. These are three immediate action steps. Again, this process takes action. So we have three things that we can immediately focus on. You also want to make sure that you stay accountable to these steps, right? It's not just coming to today's session. It's not just going back and watching the video and doing nothing. Nothing. As Camilla said, you want to take action. And so hold yourself accountable to this process. Identify what you want to do and do it by a certain date. But don't let that date be 3 weeks from today. That's not taking action. So you may want to identify what you want, what your wants are by tomorrow, right? That's immediate. That makes this thing very real and important to you. You may want to identify three sources by Sunday evening, right? These are just examples. I'm not saying it has to be by tomorrow, but these are examples of what taking action looks like. Identifying three sources by Sunday evening and applying for three experiences by next Wednesday. So at the end of the day, action is required in this process. Stay accountable. If you have to set reminders for yourself on your phone, on your calendar, give yourself deadlines in which to do several steps. You don't want to have just one big date, right? One big deadline. You want to have some deadlines, some dates, some times in which to complete some of the steps in your process. And if you need an accountability partner, certainly get with someone you know, or you can use us as your accountability partners. I'll have students say, well, I'm going to go ahead and schedule an appointment now for 2 weeks from today because I'm going to need to be held accountable. And when I know I have an appointment, I stick with it. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So now we're ready to move on and talk about where you can potentially apply to the opportunity. So again, our platform Handshake, and hopefully we have some time to go there quickly. Handshake is what we consider like a job board, but it's more than a job board. In Handshake, you will find internships, you'll find jobs, you'll find on-campus opportunities in North Carolina, around the United States, and around the world. Within Handshake, that's how you found hopefully today's event. So we host our career fairs, we post workshop announcements, we post information sessions, right? So Camille talked about networking. Information sessions are a form of networking. Why do I need to attend an information session for my internship process? Well, as has already been said, you got to know what you're interested in and the companies that may fit that interest, right? Like when Camille mentioned doing your research on an organization or a particular person in the organization, that's what an information session can do for you. It can provide that kind of introduction to an organization. It is a form of networking with recruiters, and those are the people responsible for recruiting talent, right? It can give you an inside scoop on the internship application process. So, attending things like information sessions, coffee chats, virtual sessions, career fairs, internship fairs, all of those things we use Handshake to announce and or house. Parker Dewey. Parker Dewey is, to me, a diamond in the rough. Parker Dewey offers micro internships. I don't know if anyone is familiar with what a micro internship is, but micro internships are projects that would be assigned to an intern in a full-time internship capacity, but they're actual projects that you can complete. These micro internships are paid. They are across industries, meaning they can be in areas such as HR, health, finance, IT, graphic design, they range, right? And you spend no more than 40 hours, I believe, doing micro internships. These are great opportunities to develop skill sets, great opportunities to test out what it is you are considering, right? If you're not sure, you have several interests, but how do I narrow them down? Well, we said an internship can help with that, but a micro internship certainly can help you kind of narrow down your decision and what you want to apply to. So Parker Dewey has these micro internships. They're not just for the summer, just like all internships are not for the summer. I encourage you, and we'll go there quickly to our take you to our website so you can see the Parker Dewey site as well as Handshake. What can I do with this major? A lot of times students say, well, I don't know what to do with my major. Well, this is a resource on the UCS website. Not only does it offer some career suggestions based on major, but at the very bottom of each of those major cards, and I call them cards, for each major, at the very bottom, they have job sites or job boards specifically for that major. So if you're wanting to know what you can do with your major and you don't want to spend time going to a whole lot of different places to look for opportunities, going to what can I do with this major can be very helpful to you. USAjobs.gov, that is for federal opportunities. So if you're interested in working or interning with the federal government, whether that be with the Department of State or with the Environmental Protection Agency, USAjobs.gov is the website for all federal internships, with the exception of those in the intelligence arena. Those internships are going to be posted on the individual agency's website. So if you're interested in something like the CIA, you're not going to find those on usajobs.gov. You're going to find those on CIA.gov, but anything else will be on usajobs.gov. These are typically paid internships, and they definitely can lead to full-time employment opportunities. Going global. Hey, I want to obtain an internship outside of the United States. I don't know where to start. Well, if you go to Going Global on our website, it is a very thorough and vetted website that houses internships and job opportunities across the country. So we encourage you to check that out. Idealist is one of my favorite go-tos. It is really good for those who want to work in service areas like nonprofits, non-governmental organizations. It is a really comprehensive website that I think for students looking in that area, it can be your one website. Not saying it's the only one, but it could be because it is a very comprehensive site, as well as teamworkonline.com. This is for folks that are interested in working in the industry of sports. That is what that website focuses specifically on. You can also use LinkedIn. LinkedIn definitely advertises jobs. You can use on your profile or indicate on your profile that you're open to recruiters contacting you for internships. But LinkedIn, you will find internship postings as well as Twitter. Believe it or not, follow organizations. If they have a social media presence, you want to follow them. I also encourage you all to participate in the listservs for your academic department. I would also say try to get on the listserv for the departments that may not be your own, but they may have opportunities that you're interested in. I've not heard of any academic department not including students that weren't in their programs on their listserv. I'm not saying that's not true. I'm just not aware of any that don't allow their non-academic students who are not enrolled in their academic program. I've just not heard of them denying them access to their listserv. They will use their listserv to announce jobs and internships. So like Camille said, going to office hours, talking to your professors. Well, the listserv will entail opportunities that faculty members have learned of from their colleagues, right? Colleagues at other institutions and colleagues in the industry. So you want to join listservs. You also want to target organizations. Again, we talked about, or Camilla talked about networking and informational interviews. And then consider what you're doing now. Are there any additional opportunities within that organization that you're working for or that you're volunteering for that could lend themselves to an internship but they won't if you don't ask, as Camille referenced.
All right. Interview tips. So once you applied and they like your resume, they like your application, then you get the interview. Here are some tips that I recommend. So first things first, research the organization and who is interviewing you. You want to come prepared. You want to not come with you don't want to show up not knowing where you're going to potentially work, where you're going to potentially be at. So researching their mission, things they did in the past, what they're about, their story will be beneficial for you and your interviewing process. Prepare your elevator pitch. If you haven't heard that before, it's like a elevator pitch is like if you go in the elevator and you see a CEO of some big company that you want to be a part of, you have about 5 minutes, if that, to sell yourself. So you have 5 minutes, if that, to sell yourself. So create something, a pitch. So when they ask you about yourself, you already got it. You don't have to like memorize it word for word, bar from bar, because that may like come across as practice. You want to be as natural as you can, but prepare your elevator pitch. Answer questions using STAR. This helped me tremendously. I had an interview for one of my internships, and I came and spoke with Tamara, and she told me that questions that they ask about yourself, so like tell me about yourself or tell me a time when, you answer it using STAR. So you tell them the situation, tell them the task, tell them how did you act or what was your action and the result. And if you like keep that in mind when you talk, to say the situation, the task, and the action and result, you'll hit all the key points and it seems impressive. Take notes. Though you don't have to take extensive notes like you're in the class, but note something. If they say something interesting, then you can, take that down. Just come prepared with a pen and paper or those like foldable things. I don't know what they're called, but they have a notepad inside.
Portfolio.
Yes, portfolio. Come prepared with that, just to take notes and have questions prepared, which is my next point. Have questions prepared. If you come with no questions, it shows that you came unprepared, that you didn't do your research, and you don't want to come across like that. So, and don't have like questions that are like most common or like are not meaningful, or they're just like filler questions, like you're just asking them to ask because it shows that you're just asking questions just to ask questions. Like think about your questions before you go into the interview, and once you like do your research, questions should come about that you can ask during your interview. And last but not least, follow up. I would say between 24 to 48 hours, follow up with the person who interviewed you, and just not ask them, but tell them or thank them for their time. And it was a pleasure meeting them, and you look forward to hear from them, yada, yada. But you always want to follow up and always want to have questions. So, yeah.
Awesome. So that is the internship search process. I'm going to pause here. We've had some questions in the chat. Camille was able to address them, but I want to pause here before I transition to Handshake real quick and Parker Dewey to see if we have any additional questions from you all, excuse me. And again, we want you to put them in the chat for us. All right, well, we will move on. So this is the UCS website. Hopefully you all can see it on my screen. Do you all see it, Camille?
Oh, we have a question. It said, could you reiterate what going global /usajobs.gov is for?
Sure, thank you, Jaden. So going global, I'm going to, hopefully you all can see the UCS website on my screen. Sure you can see. All right, so our website is careers, thank you, careers.unc.edu. Going global, I just type it in. I try not to find it on our website because our website is going through transition and sometimes it's hard to find information. And so I just type in, as you can see here, going global. What you will find here is there's a video that teaches you or shows you how to use the platform, and it is really for folks that are looking to uh, not study abroad, but work abroad, right? Work in countries outside of the United States. And that's all this website is. They provide a listing of organizations per country, per city that they specifically focus on. All of their information is vetted, so you don't have to worry about is it safe. Going Global focuses specifically on opportunities outside of the United States. So if that is something of interest to you, Going Global could be a really good resource for you. And then again, usajobs.gov, this is where you will find all federal opportunities. So when we mean federal, we're talking the federal government, things like the USDA, EPA. You will also find, what is that? The National Institutes of Health, right? All federal agencies. They post internships on usajobs.gov. The only federal agencies that do not are those in intelligence, like your FBI, your CIA, your DIA, and some other folks you may not be familiar with, but that exists. You would find their opportunities on their website. So if you're looking for jobs with the federal government, that would be usajobs.gov. So I hope that answered your question, Jaden. Thank you for the question. And then some basic tips, rules, or guidelines for a cover letter. We don't really have time to go through that in detail. So Camilla, if you want to offer like one or two tips real quick, then we'll go to Handshake and Parker Dewey and we'll wrap from there.
Okay, as quick as I can. If you don't know, I'm gonna put the link in the chat to a cover letter handout. But first, if you don't know who you're writing a letter to, dear hiring manager, dear recruiter is fine. First paragraph of your cover letter, you want to introduce yourself, and you want to always, this is what people forget, is tell them why you love them and why they should love you. So tell them what about this organization pulled to you, or what made you apply to this organization compared to the other. Was it their mission? Was it their projects? Like, what made them so special? And then the second paragraph, you want to talk about your fit. You don't want to repeat off your resume because they already read that. So this is a time for you to expand on what you couldn't talk about on your resume. Be detailed, be concise. And then last but not least, in the last paragraph, you just close it all up, thank them for their time, and like follow up. That was the rundown. However, I will give you details with this link I'm about to send in the chat.
Thank you, Camilla, and thank you for the question. So this is Handshake. All of you all have a Handshake account, and you can access it from the Career Services website. We put that in the chat earlier. When you come to Handshake, you will likely be directed here to your dashboard. We highly encourage you all to complete your profile. Everyone has a profile, but the information in it is kind of basic. It is the information that is automatically populated from the university's registrar to Handshake. You need to go in and complete your profile. Why? Because it tells employers who you are. And if you make your profile viewable to employers, then they can look for you. So the same way that you look for jobs, they use Handshake to look for candidates, but they won't find you if your profile is not complete. So I encourage you to come right here to the kind of right side of the screen and click make your profile stand out. Here under the Career Center is where you can schedule an appointment with either me, Camille, or any of our career peers or career coaches. If you come here to the top left of the screen and click on jobs, at present, there are almost 30,000 jobs posted in Handshake. That's a lot. We need to filter this down. Well, if you use this filter called internship here in the center, that almost 30,000 is now down to a manageable 8,000. That may still seem like a lot to you. And so what you can do is use the language that you're most familiar with to help you pare down these opportunities. So I'm going to policy just for the sake of demonstration. So that number has now dropped down to 1,300. That is super easy, manageable. I don't want to say easy, but that is super manageable when searching for opportunity. Use the words that you know. This does not have to be perfect, but again, we want you to schedule with us so we can give you some tailored tips. But if I use a word that I know, then I'm going to be presented here on the left with some opportunities. And the center is where you will find the job descriptions for each opportunity. You will also see these preferences. Don't worry about whether you are whether you meet all of the preferences. These preferences are based off of your profile, so that is another reason why you want to complete it. Let's say you don't meet all of the preferences. Handshake will still allow you to apply. The preferences, not requirements. If you keep scrolling, you'll see more information about the employer. You can click follow, so anytime they post something in Handshake, you will be notified through the platform. Then you get to see similar opportunities. One of the best parts of this is you can apply directly here in Handshake. So you'll see a red hot button that will either say apply or apply externally. You click that button and you can upload whatever documents they ask you to. If you already have your documents uploaded to your profile, that makes it even quicker, right? So you complete this information and hit submit application. Voila, you're done. That's it. And that can make the process a whole lot easier for you, especially if you on one day particular jobs that just have the apply button as opposed to another button that may say apply externally, like this one. When with these opportunities, apply externally means you complete this information here, but you also will be taken to their website for you to finish completing the application process. So that is how you can use Handshake to help you get started in identifying opportunities. And then finally, as I referenced before, Parker Doing, if you come back to our homepage and kind of scroll down just a little bit under the student internship section, it's the last option, Parker Doing micro internship. You definitely want to go through the website so you can learn more about Parker Doing, and you want to apply for them through our portal. Certainly create an account. And down here, as you continue to scroll, it tells you more about what a micro internship is. It tells you more about the platform. It will present to you some example projects that you can complete. You can click on any of these. Are these the only areas? Absolutely not. These are just examples. So we thank you for joining us today. We hope you gained a lot of information from your time with us. Again, please follow up with University Career Services for continued support. It is our pleasure to assist and support you. With that, we thank you so much. Be safe, be well, and we look forward to seeing you in University Career Services. Thank you.